You know that moment when someone says something and it spins around in your head all day long? That conversation that ends, but you keep fighting it inside, hours later, alone? And the most curious thing is this. Neurologically, the stress substances that generate anger disappear on their own in 90 seconds. 90 seconds. That's all it lasts biologically. But you're still angry 20 minutes later. Why? Because the mind grabbed the story and started replaying it on a loop. It's as if the fire alarm went off because you burned the toast, and instead of opening the window, you sat down to burn more toast to see if it rings louder. Next time someone cuts you off while driving, observe yourself. The body reacts. Those are the 90 seconds. But then the movie starts. Who does he think he is? And suddenly you've spent half an hour trapped in a story with someone who doesn't even remember you exist. When you understand the 90-second rule, something appears that you didn't know you had, a point of choice. You can let the fire die out on its own, or you can keep adding fuel. We all know someone who seems unshakable, who doesn't get rattled, who responds instead of exploding. They weren't born different. They learned something, and you're about to learn it too. Chapter 1. The Myth of the One Who Sets You Off. There's a phrase almost all of us have said at some point. He knows exactly how to push my buttons. As if the other person had a remote control for you, a secret button they press whenever they want to see you lose your mind. But there's something nobody tells you about those buttons. They only work if they're connected to something. And what's on the other end of the wire isn't the other person. It's you. An old wound, a value you feel was trampled, a story you've been carrying for years. When someone sets you off, they're not controlling you. They're showing you exactly where it still hurts. Your coworker makes that double-edged comment, and instead of reacting automatically, you ask yourself, what is this really about? Maybe it sounds like your father's tone when you were a child. Maybe it reminds you of someone who belittled you when you needed them most. Suddenly, your coworker isn't attacking you. They're revealing something you still need to resolve within yourself. Nobody can manage your emotional state if you take the wheel. Think about the person who triggers you the most. What they activate in you almost never has to do with them. It almost always has to do with what you carry inside. Chapter 2. What Anger is Really Covering Up. This is going to sound strange at first, but stay with me. What you feel as anger is almost never anger. Anger is a security guard. It shows up at the door so no one sees what's inside. What's inside is more delicate. Pain, fear, shame, the feeling of not being enough. When someone criticizes you and you explode, most likely you're not angry. You're hurt. You're feeling that they don't see your worth. But vulnerability is scary, and anger, curiously, feels safer, harder, more like, don't break me. Your partner forgot something important to you, and instead of telling them it hurt you, you explode. Result? Argument. Distance. Neither of you close to what really happened. Now imagine saying, I felt like I wasn't important to you in that moment. That lands. That opens something. Anger builds walls. Vulnerability opens doors. And even though it seems the opposite, the second option is the bravest. Think about your last big anger episode. Look underneath. What was there that you didn't want to show? Chapter 3. The Microsecond That Changes Everything. Between what happens to you and what you do with it, there is a crack. It's small, almost invisible, but it exists. Viktor Frankl discovered it in a Nazi concentration camp. They said they could take everything from him, his family, his clothes, his name, but they couldn't take that. The space between what was done to him and what he chose to do with it. The same principle applies when your boss sends you an aggressive message at 10 at night. The trigger arrives, the body reacts, but before you do anything, there is a fraction of a second. In that moment, before sending the response you're going to regret later, one single question can change everything. What response will I be proud of tomorrow? That activates something different in the brain. It pulls you out of autopilot. There are people who seem untouchable, who never lose their head. It's not that they don't feel, it's that they found that crack and learned to live there. You can too. Chapter 4. The part of you that can watch the storm without getting wet. What if you could see your emotions as if they were the weather? Not telling them they don't exist, not pretending it isn't raining, just observing. It's cloudy. A storm is coming. This will pass. Inside you, there is a part that can do exactly that. a part that doesn't become the emotion, but watches it. Not, this person is an idiot, but rather, I'm noticing that a strong irritation is arising in me right now. Do you feel the difference? In the first sentence, the emotion has you. In the second, you have the emotion. Your teenage son looks at you with that expression you know by heart, the expression that clearly says you're the worst in the world. Instead of reacting, you activate that observing part. I notice I'm getting defensive. Interesting. From there, you can choose, not from the fire, from the balcony. Think of a time when you stayed calm when everything around you was falling apart. You were using that, even without knowing it. Now you can do it on purpose. Chapter 5. Changing the lens through which you see difficult people. What if the people who complicate your life the most weren't obstacles? What if they were trainers? Not trainers you chose, not trainers you like, but trainers nonetheless. Your boss who micromanages every detail is training you in something, how to stay calm under pressure without losing focus. Your passive-aggressive neighbor is training you in something, how to set limits without needing them to change first. When that same boss sends you the 15th email of the day to check on you, instead of thinking, he doesn't trust me, try, he's giving me free reps to practice not reacting. Suddenly, it's not persecution, it's a gym. And from there, even the way you respond changes. You stop defending yourself. You start asking with genuine curiosity, what do you need from me to feel comfortable with this? When you stop being a victim, you become a student, and every difficult conversation becomes an opportunity to grow. Look at your most complicated relationship right now. What is that person teaching you that you couldn't learn from anyone else? Like this if it made you think. Share it with someone who needs it, and keep watching because what's coming is just as important. Chapter 6. Taking care of yourself without building a fortress. Limits are not walls to keep people out. They're more like skin. They let in what nourishes, they keep out what harms. And just as skin isn't aggressive, a well-placed limit doesn't have to be either. I understand you're frustrated, but when I'm spoken to in that tone, I can't process the conversation well. Can we continue when the temperature comes down a bit? That's not attacking. That's clarifying the rules of the game. You have a friend who calls to complain, always about the same thing, and never wants solutions. They just want to vent. Instead of cutting the bond or filling yourself with resentment, you can say, I love you and I'm here for you. But today I can give you 10 minutes for this. If you want to think together about what to do, I have all afternoon. You're protecting the bond, and you're also protecting yourself. You cannot serve from an empty cup, and limits are the way to keep it full. Think of someone who regularly drains your energy. What concrete limit could protect your peace with that person without breaking the bond? Chapter 7. Stepping back is not running away. Sometimes it's the smartest thing you can do. There's a huge difference between escaping from something and strategically stepping away in order to come back better. One weakens you, the other prepares you. When you're at the peak of emotional activation, the part of the brain that thinks clearly is literally disconnected. It's not a metaphor, it's neurology. Stepping away in that moment is not cowardice. It's giving your system time to reboot. I need a moment before we continue with this. I want to respond to you well, not react. You're not abandoning the conversation. You're respecting the topic enough not to destroy it. Your partner brings up a heavy topic right when you get home from work with your head somewhere else. Instead of exploding or shutting down, you can say, this topic matters too much to me to handle it this way. Let's talk after dinner, when I can really be present. 5 minutes of pause can save you hours of repair afterward. We've all said things in the heat of the moment that we would have preferred not to say. A timeout is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you know what you're doing. Remember a conversation that hit rock bottom because one of you was already overwhelmed. A timeout in time could have changed everything. Chapter 9. Loving someone without sinking with them. You can care deeply about someone without carrying their weight. You can love someone without living inside their drama. That doesn't make you cold. It makes you truly useful. There's an image that helps understand this, the lifeguard. When someone is drowning, the lifeguard doesn't jump in the water and drown too. They throw something from the shore. Because from inside the water, they can't save anyone. Compassionate distance works the same way. You can be present without being absorbed. I see you're going through something very heavy. You matter to me. How can I be here for you in a way that also lets me stay well? You have a friend going through a difficult divorce who calls you every day to unload their anger and pain. Instead of filling yourself with it until you can't take anymore, you can propose, I truly want to be there for you in this. What if we meet twice a week to talk about this in depth, and the other days we do something that does both of us good? You're there, but you're not sinking. Those who help from exhaustion don't help. They just generate more need. Think of someone whose drama tends to consume you. How could you be present without disappearing yourself in the process? Chapter 10. The story you tell yourself is the experience you live. You are not experiencing reality. You are experiencing the story you built about reality, and that difference changes everything. Every time someone triggers you, your mind starts writing a script. They don't respect me. They're attacking me. They want to see me fail. But those are interpretations, not facts. What if that person's sharp tone is because they're overwhelmed and it has nothing to do with you? Your boss sends you a curt email with feedback. Story 1. They hate me. They want to get rid of me. Result: anxiety and defensive shutdown. Story 2. They're busy and want me to improve quickly. Result: curiosity and gratitude. The same email, the same situation, a completely different story, a completely different emotional experience. When you realize that you write the script, you stop being a supporting character in your own life. Think of something that bothered you recently. What story did you tell yourself? What other equally possible story could you have told? Now what knowledge, without practice, is just entertainment. And this week, you don't need to practice everything. Just one thing. Choose one single technique, maybe the observer one. The next time something triggers you, say to yourself internally, I notice a strong emotion arising. That's it. You don't need to resolve anything in that moment. Just observe. By the second week, that starts to become automatic. And that's how real transformation is built. One small change repeated, not a one-day revolution. The people who seem immune to external stimuli weren't born that way. They practiced until it became natural. You can too. Imagine what your life will be like when difficult people no longer have the power to ruin your day. That version of you exists, and it's waiting for you. I want to know if you're going to join the challenge and bring out the best version of yourself. Let me know by subscribing to the channel and comment on what was the reason that made you lose your patience today.